Post details an elderly, egotistical president shielded from reality by a slavish coterie of loyalists. Never said that word before. So ailing, mendacious, egotistical, and that's from media outlets that spent 4 years smooching Biden's wrinkly ass. They were so far up his butt, I'm surprised they didn't diagnose the cancer.
Greg Gutfeld just unleashed a comedic flamethrower on former President Joe Biden, torching every stumble, misstep, and mumbling word salad from his time in office. From missed exits to awkward air handshakes, Gutfeld transformed Biden's baffling tenure into a savage masterclass in political roasting. No cue card, teleprompter, or media spin could shield Joe from this relentless takedown. If you thought late night lost its edge, think again. Gutfeld just reignited it with the sharpest, funniest, and most brutally honest Biden roast to date.
President Biden boasting about how you should be thanking him this Thanksgiving.
Well, this past week, as Americans gathered around their own kitchen tables for Thanksgiving dinner, that was our goal, to give them a little more breathing room. From turkey to air travel to tank of gas, cost went.
Greg Gutfeld came in swinging, not with fists, but with that brand of comedy that slices cleaner than a scalpel dipped in sarcasm. And his target, standing on the metaphorical stage with a confused smile and wandering gaze, was none other than Joe Biden, the human teleprompter crisis. Gutfeld didn't bother warming up. He went straight for the jugular, describing Biden not as a leader, but as a heavily medicated mascot for policies even his staff can't explain.
It's a train wreck of a fact check. Yes, Reuters invites hilarity by fact-checking obvious parody, telling its readers no such luck. Biden doesn't really chase the ice cream truck. So it's no secret the big guy enjoys his ice cream. That's just one of the reasons why Dr. Jill calls him Mr. Softy.
According to Greg, the Biden presidency isn't so much a government as it is an extended senior moment with global consequences. He joked that Biden is like your great uncle who gets lost in his own living room but insists on driving the entire family across state lines. It's not that Joe doesn't know what's going on, it's that he thinks he does, and that makes it infinitely worse. Gutfeld marveled at how Biden can give a speech about fixing the economy while looking like he's trying to remember where he left his teeth.
Guy's big ad buy comes one day before Robert Hur will testify about his report claiming that Joe is an elderly man with a poor memory. Biden will be taking his angry man shtick on tour and hit 3 swing states this week. Over the weekend, he gave us a preview of what senile moments you can expect.
Greg had a field day with Biden's speeches. He said listening to Biden talk is like watching someone try to put together IKEA furniture without a manual, glasses, or a clue. He'll start strong with a statement on inflation and end with an anecdote about a cornfield in Delaware that no one asked for. The words are there, sure, but they're strung together like Christmas lights tossed into a blender. Half the time it sounds like someone hit shuffle on a playlist of 1,900 political slogans and old diner stories.
As we speak, he's actually lobbying Baskins and Robbins to make a flavor based on little girl shampoo. Although, when Joe says sprinkles, it means call the urologist.
And the pauses. Oh, those legendary Biden pauses. Gutfeld said it's like watching a buffering video in real life. You stare at the man, wondering if he's going to finish the sentence, fall asleep, or suddenly reboot like a government-issued Roomba. Sometimes he leans in and whispers like he's about to tell the American people where he buried the gold. And other times he yells random words like a man possessed by a thesaurus demon.
Joe raided Mar-a-Lago with the feds. Now he gets a taste of his own meds. That's good. Yeah. Stop it. You're biting into the time. The White House admits that more classified documents were found, this time at one of Biden's homes in Delaware and in his garage. But it's cool, man, because that garage was totally locked.
Gutfeld tore into Biden's leadership style, saying it was like electing a screensaver. Looks like something's happening, but really, it's just floating symbols and a light show while the machine does nothing. Greg painted Biden as the commander-in-chief of confusion, where the biggest threat isn't a foreign adversary, but whether or not Joe remembers which room he's in. The man gives off the energy of someone who walks into a kitchen and forgets why he went in, except now he's signing executive orders and giving foreign policy speeches from that kitchen. Greg laughed that under Joe's leadership, you need a loan to buy eggs and a financial advisor to afford gas. And when Biden says the economy is strong, it's like a magician saying, "Trust me, the rabbit's in the hat," while you can clearly see it hopping out the back door. Gutfeld went after Biden's obsession with being empathetic, claiming that Biden thinks nodding and squinting equals problem solving.
Pennsylvania, I have a message for you. Send me to Congress that I can support this right, and I promise you, we take back Congress, we will restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land.
Biden could show America his razor-sharp mind by debating Donald Trump, but so far, he refuses to commit.
Mr. President, will you commit to a debate with former President Trump?
It depends on his behavior.
He said Biden's solution to rising crime, border chaos, and educational disaster is to host a town hall where he mumbles something vaguely poetic and then wanders off stage like a confused dad at Coachella. Greg joked that Biden governing America is like putting a lava lamp in charge of a power grid. It looks cool, it glows, but it won't power anything, and eventually just spills everywhere. Then he dove into the infamous moments. Biden's habit of shaking hands with invisible people, turning around to speak to no one, and freezing mid-sentence as though someone accidentally hit pause on the remote. Greg said we're one press conference away from Biden mistaking a houseplant for a diplomat. According to Greg, it's not governance, it's a Weekend at Bernie's reboot with taxpayer funding. The only thing being built back better is the creative damage control operation every time Biden goes off script, which incidentally is every single time he speaks.
The cold, sweet treat is perfect for cooling down after a long, hot, sweaty day of aimlessly drifting around the White House like a tumbleweed. But now Reuters, which claims to be a news outlet, is getting mocked online for actually fact-checking a clearly edited video of Biden getting distracted by an ice cream truck and walking out of frame.
On foreign policy, Gutfeld roasted Biden as the guy who tries to calm down a bear with a bedtime story. Whether it's dealing with hostile nations or explaining complex treaties, Joe Biden has the diplomatic presence of a sleepy substitute teacher who lost the syllabus and just wants the class to nap quietly. Greg pointed out that adversaries don't fear Biden, they observe him like a curious science project, watching to see how long it takes before someone else quietly takes over while he nods off. Then came the border crisis, which Greg described as the greatest disappearing act in modern politics. Not because the problem's gone, far from it, but because Biden manages to pretend it isn't happening while it unfolds on live television. Gutfeld laughed that under Biden, security is a mood, not a policy. The borders are wide open, the consequences are real, and Biden is somewhere sipping oatmeal through a biodegradable straw while a staffer nods aggressively behind him. Meanwhile, Americans are staring at skyrocketing utility bills like it's a game show they never signed up for. Guess the price, pay double, and pray the lights stay on.
She's gonna win.
Joe Biden was the ultimate catfish.
Yeah.
We were all online being told, oh, this is a congenial centrist. Yeah, swipe right. I don't know how to do these dating apps.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you find out it's not him at all, but some guy in a bathrobe smoking meth.
Yeah.
God, how many times does that happen to me, huh?
Okay, and then came the roasts on Biden's constant image rehab attempts. Greg said it's like trying to polish fog. Every now and then they trot Joe out in aviators, like that magically erases the mental fog, the stumbles, and the bad decisions. Gutfeld joked that if cool sunglasses and an awkward jog down a hallway could fix America, Biden would be the next founding father. Unfortunately, all it does is make the guy look like he wandered out of a retirement home in search of a jazz concert. Gutfeld touched on the student loan debacle, mocking Biden's plan as financial cosplay. One moment he's the savior of the indebted, the next he's being smacked down by courts and logic, all while pretending the money fairy will show up with a solution. Greg laughed that Biden's approach to economics is basically playing Monopoly while forgetting you already mortgaged Boardwalk and can't remember what the thimble does. 40 years of being around politics, Greg argued, doesn't automatically mean you know how to run a nation. It just means you've been loitering in the building while someone else did the actual work.
Alzer and Chancellor Farabee, thank you for joining us as well. And for families across the country, the school year.
That's hilarious. I would say the footage does seem manipulated. There's no way Joe can move that fast. But give him a break, he's got oil cancer.
Then there's the facade of unity, Biden's constant performance of being a unifier while labeling half the country as extremists. Gutfeld said it's like inviting people to a family dinner and then insulting their haircut, their kids, and their car on the way to the table. You can't claim to heal the nation with one hand while pointing the finger with the other. Greg said the only thing Biden's unified is the national desire to mute political ads permanently. To wrap up, Gutfeld pointed to the fact that Joe Biden has become the only president in modern history who could fall asleep at a meeting and somehow be praised for his restraint. He said, "We live in a world where Biden blinking twice in the right direction is considered progress. That's not leadership." Greg argued that's a collective exercise in lowered expectations. America didn't elect a president, they inherited a long, awkward voicemail from someone who forgot they already left the message. The punchlines aren't running dry, they're multiplying. And Greg Gutfeld, ever the sharp-eyed observer, isn't putting the mic down anytime soon.
The Justice Department's appointing a special counsel to review whether Biden mishandled classified info. So how is the White House dealing with this? Come on, just got to trust the process.
This is an ongoing process under the review of the Department of Justice. We're going to respect the process, and we're just going to allow the process to continue. Let the process continue. It's an ongoing process. I am genuinely saying to you, there is an ongoing process. This is all part of the Justice Department process as part of that process. And I said because there was a process of justice throughout this process, we just laid out the process that was taken, and that is the process.
Yeah.
Gutfeld leaned in harder, saying Biden's presidency is like a long airport layover. Nobody planned for it. Nothing works and everyone's just trying to survive until it's over. He compared Biden's policy announcements to flight delays, always delivered with a fake smile and followed by absolute chaos. One day it's a green energy summit, the next he's whispering into the mic about unity, while a train derailment gets ignored like a bill no one wants to pay. Greg joked that Biden has turned the White House into a live-action version of Weekend at Bernie's. Only instead of sunglasses and beach parties, we've got cue cards and confused press secretaries doing damage control like it's an Olympic sport. Every time Biden turns around to leave a stage, there's a 50/50 chance he's walking straight into the drummer or the flag, and still the press collapses like he just discovered gravity. Then he mocked Biden's attempts to connect with the average American.
But what if the Biden cover-up was by design, orchestrated to protect not the president, but to enable a radical agenda? Anyone could tell Joe was feeble. But what if Biden's decline wasn't caused by disability, but by debility, meaning he was purposely kept exhausted, confused, and miserable, like an overnight shift worker or a Fox and Friends viewer?
Gutfeld laughed that Joe tries to talk like a blue-collar worker while being shown referring to billion-dollar fundraisers and sniffing the aroma of artisan candles in Delaware. Biden talking about the working class is like a reality show host claiming they understand homelessness because they once stayed at a Motel 6. It's all performance, no proximity. Greg ripped into Biden's social media moments too. Those bizarre, overly scripted clips where he holds ice cream or squints into a camera like he's trying to guess what year it is. Gutfeld said they're like commercials for retirement homes disguised as leadership content. He joked that if Biden ever did a TikTok challenge, it would be called Find the Exit. And as the crowd metaphorically leaned in, Gutfeld grinned because this wasn't just comedy, it was catharsis. America wasn't laughing at its president, it was laughing through the confusion, the fatigue, the nonsense. And Joe Biden, bless his heart, was still somewhere backstage asking where he parked Air Force.